welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. We're talking about the latest Marvel What If episode. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey guys, this is Prague.
And this is DeLorean Wolfgang with special guests. That's right, we have a special guest this week. This special guest is in the garage with me. Let's hear it for Cricket, everybody. That's right, we're going to hear a whole lot of Cricket in this episode. I am so sorry. I apologize, but you know what? You just got to deal with certain little things, you know?
It's on par for our podcast.
Makes sense. We had to bring the real connection to our fans.
The Crickets.
Long-time listener.
Long-time listener.
Here's 1/3 of the conversation the whole time, and it's just me. So, yeah. So what if the best of intentions have very strange consequences? That's a real conundrum, I do say.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So shall we dive into some spoiler-free reviews of this episode?
Head first in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or whatever we're driving.
Oh, wow. I mean, this episode was dark, but that was dark. Very
what?
Well.
You said let's dive in?
I know, that's true, I did.
Head
I was
first
unintentional.
in a beautiful Lamborghini with a lovely lady.
Anyways, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. This was a dark episode. Now, I've been hearing a lot that people say that this is their all-time favorite episode so far, and I'm like,
4 episodes.
I could see, yeah, out of the 4 episodes, and I'm like, okay, I could see that, but it was good. I don't know. I'm trying to think of if there might have been anything better than this, but I enjoyed this one. Here's the thing, is I'm enjoying this whole series. I think this whole series is really fun and enjoyable, but I'm liking seeing this part of Doctor Strange because it gives me so much hope for when the film comes out, because if this is how dark they're going to make Doctor Strange here in this cartoon on Disney Plus, they've already said that Doctor Strange is going to be a possible horror movie in the future. So having this, what we just got, is very intriguing for the future. So I'm pretty excited. But this was a pretty cool episode. I do kind of wish I would have lived in the world just a tad bit longer. They spent their time, a little too much time on certain things, but I understand that it was fully necessary. But yes, I enjoyed it. I think it was a cool episode. I know that I say it every week. It's fun. So there. Hey, it's fun again.
Cool. Tagline.
You want to go next, Trevor, or you want me to go?
Sure, I'll go next. I think episode 2 is still probably my favorite because it's so fun, but I really respect what episode 4 did just in terms of the scope of what it means, because the whole idea of this show is that all of these universes happen and they're all simultaneous, and there's this whole expectation that everything's happening at once, but not every timeline turns out good. Some timelines end, and you have to come to terms with that to show us literally how that could happen. And then it poses the whole idea of there's just so many scenarios. Like all the heroes, every single superhero there is, has something in their backstory where there's a point. And what makes them a hero is that they overcome it. They always overcome that point. That's why they're a hero. And we never see the other side of that aspect. And I thought they did a really good job of that. And also it shows how powerful Doctor Strange is. It's tough for audiences to kind of connect because you have to kind of understand the metaphysical, or at least accept and embrace that there's a whole metaphysical realm. He's capable of more than anybody else. It's not even close. And so just to see that firsthand of what he could potentially do, they did a really good job. And ultimately that animation, just that thing at the end, I want that in some kind of collectible form.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well said.
Nice. God, you guys make me sound like a dum-dum when you explain this stuff. Like, it's fun. It's cool to watch.
Small adjectives are fun. I enjoyed this episode. I'm thinking whichever the second one's still going to be my favorite. It's going to be hard to top the second one. I'm sure they will, maybe. We'll see what I know the zombie one's coming up, but I do like, because this is a kind of a similar trope we've seen in a lot of kind of, I guess, sci-fi time travel type scenarios. Not to spoil too much of the episode, but so I've seen that before, but what I really liked was seeing the possibilities. Like what Trevor said, just all of that was really exciting to me. Like that's kind of what I enjoy about comics, is really kind of like going off into these really dark corners and weird magic and endless possibilities, really. Now, to your point, Alex, the new movie was supposed to be like horror, but that was a different director. He is no longer with the project.
Oh, no way.
It might still be horror. Like they still might have retained some of the script, sure, but it's a different director. So I'm not too sure how much of a tone they're going to keep in the horror realm. I would assume it's going to be, because they still have Wanda in it. There's going to be witchcraft and there's going to be a whole bunch of dark magic. So it could still be, horror. And I hope it is, because I think that aspect of this episode was its strength. It was really diving into the dark arts of Marvel, which we haven't seen before. So in that respect, I really did enjoy it. And I liked the ending. So.
Yeah, the ending was, well, actually, no. I'm not going to say anything about the ending.
We should talk about our socials.
That's what we should do. Make sure to go over to crossthestreamsmedia.com for links to all of our socials and all of our episodes. You can also check out some of our sister shows. That's right. We do have sister shows. They're friends of ours. Hey, from the Dorksman, the Movie Gap podcast, 3 Beers and a Mic, Dan Aykroyd podcast, Front Row Negative, Burn Appetit, and so many more. Every week, they add more. It's crazy. Actually, STS guys. You guys know STS guys. Yeah, they're even on there now. There's so many. I think they even just announced a new one in the last few days too. And all of that is at crossthestreamsmedia.com. And if you don't want to use Cross the Streams Media, go to our socials at Secondary Heroes. We are Secondary Heroes everywhere, including YouTube, where you can like and subscribe to all of our videos. Or you could listen to our podcast. Ed, I know you're watching out there, buddy. Wink. But for those who are listening, please go and rate and review our podcast over on iTunes, because that really does help it. And I just learned how much these likes actually help the podcast. Like, we jumped huge numbers because people were liking our podcast. It's very interesting how that all works. Anyways, all this is free for you. It's priceless to us.
Awesome. So if you are new to the show, we start with our spoiler-free aspect and then dive full on with spoilers. So if you haven't seen this episode yet, we're going to spoil it. And then after we talk about episode 4 of What If, we're going to potentially talk about what ifs in different dark timelines and ideas beyond the Marvel Universe. So stay tuned for that. But now, what happens if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hand? So for me, the biggest spoiler problem is the same as episode 3. I really like this episode, but again, they shifted the goalposts on the what if. The what if query is now, what if Doctor Strange and Rachel McAdams stayed together, which is previous than when we started. That's the actual inflection point of this. Jeez.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I think it's confusing a lot of people now, because they're all like, wait, how do the what ifs actually work then? It kind of creates a problem in and of itself that I don't think that the producers really sat down to discuss. Like, hey, each person who's writing the episodes, make sure you start off a certain way so that you understand the what if splitting point. Because yeah, it was kind of confusing. I'm like, I was trying to remember the movie. I'm like, I don't remember them like really like being full on
being
like
head
in love.
over heels.
Yeah, because she was upset with him because of all of his shenanigans, because he was an ass. And yeah, I'm like, this is weird to me, but we missed it. Like what Trevor said, I have no idea why they decided to stay together. That is really what the what if was in this scenario. But
well, and it was almost
the way
like
it is.
It almost was like when she, and keep in mind, everybody, if you are listening, we are in full on spoilers at this point.
Yes.
So let me go back to what I was saying. So it felt to me like every time that he watched her die, he was falling in love with her a little bit more each time. Like, and it almost like started driving him even more nuts because yeah, in our timeline, it was kind of like, okay, whatever. Like they were fighting. It didn't seem like they were in love, exactly like you said. And in this, he goes completely dark because of his infatuation and his love for this woman that we've never seen before, which is very fascinating. It was a hard, well, a left merge into a left lane and then off a cliff.
Okay. Anyways, that was the precipice for the episode, is that they're taking a drive. Usually in the film, he went on the drive by himself. This time she goes with him. That's the big difference, though. How he still didn't lose the use of his hands in the crash was just kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe he was bracing her or something. I don't know what he was doing with his hands, but
maybe he landed differently.
Maybe, yeah. Anyways, it's nitpicky, but it was something I was thinking of while watching the beginning. I will say that I enjoyed the second half of the episode more than the first half. The first half, I was like, I kind of knew what they were doing because they've done this before in sci-fi. So I was like, all right, he's gonna keep trying to save her.
That was the thing that I was saying in the non-spoilers, is the fact that like I almost felt like they were doing it almost too many times.
Right.
Like showing us, I got it. Yeah. Yeah. We all understand what you're trying to do. Like, you don't need to do it 16 times before we're now into it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I needed to see her die. Like, I don't know if they had like a vendetta against her or what, but.
Well, shout out to Rachel McAdams. Again, she's in Time Traveler's Wife, and she's also in About Time. Right? And so that's just she's just in these time travel sad things.
Stuck in
that's
time,
just
man.
her role.
She is so good, man. She is so good. I wish they would have made the animation look more like her, though.
Yeah, it was kind of
like the animation.
It looked great on him,
nothing
right?
like. Oh my god, it looked exactly like him.
But her, not so much. So, nitpicky. That's all it was.
Yeah,
so, and I did enjoy the.
Funny though. The idea that Doctor Strange needs a love interest for this to work, I think that only works just because of the power of Doctor Strange. I was thinking about other superheroes, and I'm like, to destroy the universe, like, even no matter how evil some of the heroes we know, they can't destroy the universe. Like Cap, no matter what he does, he's not going to be able to destroy the universe. You know, Tony maybe, just because he's able to solve time travel in about 6 minutes. Thor, I think, could destroy worlds, but I don't know if he could destroy an entire universe. It takes a Doctor Strange level to destroy a universe. Like Wanda could, but, you know, so they had to introduce the love interest. Only it works with him.
So it really comes down to magic at the end of it, because, I mean, like you just said, I mean, if let's say Hulk can't do it because he's not magic. He's just a big green thing. Right. Captain America can't do it. He's kind of earthbound. You really can't do anything with Captain America at that point. Tony, that's skating the edge. Yeah, he created time travel in 6 minutes, but to absolutely shrink the universe into just you.
Yeah, he might be able to screw it up, and I don't think he'd be able to do what Doctor Strange did. So you're right. I think it is. It comes down to magic. The people who have the power of magic have the ability to do this, possibly.
And he had was the time stone. He had no other stones at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the craziest part. Is like, imagine if he had like a reality stone. He could have changed reality for his is it Christine? Was it Christine, his love interest in the?
I forget her name.
Rachel McAdams. Let's just call her Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, sure. I have no idea. I know Christine's that car from Stephen King.
Stephen King, yeah. Gorgeous red Cadillac. Love Christine.
That's right. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was gonna say when you cut me off. I forget. Something about the sorcerer and magic, breaking realities. I don't know. I had something there. I lost it.
So in this episode, we saw the Kraken-looking creature again. We saw it the first time in the Hydra in the first episode. Do you think we're going to see a live-action version of this in a later film?
Possibly, yeah. I think anything's on the table with these what ifs. I think they're kind of throwing things out there and seeing what sticks, what people like, what works in the narrative, possibly. It makes sense that they would choose that one, It's cool looking, Hydra related.
But
It's
all
also
we've
much
really
easier
seen,
to animate though than do live action.
Yeah, that too. That too. Yeah.
That's true, yeah. Because Doctor Strange, all he does was cut off a couple tentacles. It's not like he killed the. Well, he did
He
destroy
didn't-
the universe, so yeah, I
Right.
guess it is dead.
It's kind of
Technically.
done now.
Well, no, he's the Hydra. It's not a he, but it's a multi-universe being.
That's true. Isn't it? I think they said it in the first episode that it floats in between universes.
Yes.
So just some of his tentacles got cut off, and
Yeah, the
one
rest of him is
part
out
the
there
universe.
like, like Knuckles like running around like this. Ah!
That prick!
Yes. I'm trying to think what they would call it if it's no longer 8 octave.
Oh, dude, that guy's got way more tentacles
Streptopod?
than 8.
I don't know.
He has tentacles in
probably.
every universe.
Yes, he does. They're all over the place, man. They're up in there. But the cool thing about that aspect of this episode of him, like, kind of absorbing the powers, is it calls back to the comics where Doctor Strange really isn't magical himself. He borrows other people's magic. That's what his deal is. So he's constantly like borrowing other mystical beings' powers to use it against other people. So they kind of touched on that in this episode, which I really enjoyed. So it's not just a time stone or reading a book of spells. He's actually using other people's powers. So,
dude, the way that he was sucking their powers with, I mean, his glowing eyes and mouth and his ears, just that visual looked so good.
yeah, this is the best looking one, I think, overall. The animation was stellar in that second half. Like, that's the kind of stuff I like. That's like the Black Cauldron, like old school Disney kind of stuff that I like.
And
Don
then that
Bluth.
thing he became at the end.
Yeah.
Just the mashup of all those creatures that he sucked in. Just that was an amazing
As
design.
soon as I saw him get revealed, I'm like, that looks like Ganon from like the end of a Zelda game. It has that same kind of.
Oh, wow.
That monster Ganon version. And,
yeah.
That's so creepy.
So, man, sorry, I had somewhere I was going with it, but I lost it. Someone else take over.
It's a crazy episode. It's a lot to
It
dissect.
really was. It was a lot. It was an absolute lot because he spent centuries. From what we find out is that he spends centuries sucking in all the powers of all these different creatures from around the universe. It's really, really pretty fascinating. But each character that he brought through, I was like, I want to know more of that. I want to know more of that. I want to know more of that.
Every cockroach who has the cape.
Cape.
What universe is the sorcerer cockroach from?
Right. What is that all about?
Is alligator Loki, maybe?
Oh my god.
Like
We need a whole world where they're just animals, dude.
That'd be great.
That'd be a great what if.
That's a great what if.
I wonder if that is going to be a what if, actually, because that would be fantastic.
We finally get alligator Loki doing something.
But none of them talk, so they're just running around.
Yeah,
that's true.
You can animate things without voice.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. Like,
that's true.
But
look at WALL-E. That's one of the best Pixar movies, and there is barely any dialogue for the first half of it. Yeah, you're gonna have some work to do, Trevor. Sorry.
He has the sorcerer hat. So
that's true. He's a sorcerer.
If only.
Just use magic, man. Just don't
use
ruin the universe.
And just go back.
Oh yeah, you got to do one of these. It's morphin' time.
All right, where were we? But this really is, for me, it's like, I think my issue is still like, I don't buy the whole love story. Like, I really wish they would have spent time with that instead of showing her die over and over again. Build that relationship. But to Trevor's point too, I don't know what else they could have done, because they've already used up Wanda and her grief, and she did her thing. So they didn't really have anybody else that could have done this level of destruction. I don't. Could there have been a different reason for him to want to go back in time over and over again to save something or change something that would have been different?
It's really interesting because he is selfish. And we see the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange is doing something that Wong particularly don't do this. And he's like, I'm going to do it anyway because
Pretty much,
I'm
that's
Doctor
who he
Strange. I'm
is.
awesome.
Right.
And he messes up. Like, everything about Multiverse of Madness, it's like, oh, Wanda's going to mess the timeline up because she's going to try to bring her kids back. But the way Doctor Strange is acting so cavalier about time, and he might mess it up himself.
That's what I'm thinking.
He might even mess it up in Spider-Man. And he has to fix it in his own standalone
He needs help
movie.
with Wanda. He's like, wait, hold on. Wanda, you have lost new power now. Come help me.
And so to
And
see
guess
him,
what?
like,
Bargain.
mess up already with this decision, it bends into the Doctor Strange isn't infallible. Like, literally, he probably just doesn't like Tony, and that's the one solution he found. He's like, 2 birds, 1 stone. I can get rid of Thanos and Tony at once. So I only found one solution where we win, guys.
Oh, wow.
That might even be darker than this episode, Trevor.
Jeez. I do not want to
He's
live
like-
a day
He's
in
like,
your
maybe there
brain.
were 2, but there's this other one where you also
Get a
I'll just call it-
possibility of living, growing old, watching your kid go to college, or
Oh,
you
shoot.
die and then
There's
I'm
only
more
one
powerful.
eye, I looked. I swear, Tony, I looked. Believe me. Oh. Just the one. Oh, what can you do? What can you do? You gotta die. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Oh, what fun possibilities. I love it. And the other big thing of this episode for me was that the Watcher finally was involved. The
He
Watcher,
was
being
involved.
my favorite characters from the comics, finally gets involved. It was good.
And we see him in the flesh. It's not like a vision.
Comes
It's
in.
not like, yeah, exactly. He came in and he showed his full body, full face, everything.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
that was something that was like, whoa, this is kind of a big deal.
yeah. Yeah, he intervened. This is kind of fun. Fun to
It
see. I
takes
mean, this is a
Doctor
big
Strange to be able to see him.
that too is a cool moment where he kind of like looks over his shoulder and is like, said that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
What's going
right?
on?
Who's there?
Love that. It's like that's how deep you are in your dark magic that you're now being able to hear the Watcher, the narrator of the universe. Like
But
that's
that almost like brings the question up. The Watcher is probably going to have a piece now in each movie, possibly.
more and more involved. Yeah, he may. I'm hoping so because I love Jeffrey Wright. So if they bring him on screen for something
I
big,
felt like, yeah,
multiverse stuff, sure.
absolutely. I thought this was the best episode with him because like his voice really came out in it, and it felt very booming and very powerful. And I was like, yes, this dude is rad. I
Yeah.
want to see more of this guy.
And just him pondering, like the first time we see him, he questions, do I intervene?
Yeah.
At the end, he tells Doctor Strange, sorry, there's nothing I can do. But he literally ponders it to himself. And he
A lot. I'm
says
sure he does it all the
his
time.
universe isn't worth it. It's not worth sacrificing all the other universes' stability.
Sure. Yeah, he doesn't want to risk that. He's watching everything. It's like,
Yeah.
and
He's like,
and,
I know how this is going to play out, and it happens.
I will say that in the comics he's far more cheeky, and this one he's a lot more serious. Like, cause he's seen everything, so he's always kind of like the wink and nod to the the camera kind of person in the comics. So hopefully he does a little bit of that too. Maybe with the more fun episodes, not the dark ones. Like
Right.
this. We'll see. So yeah, it was exciting. I
Well,
really
it
enjoyed
is-
the aspect
It
of
is interesting to say. So it all ends with Doctor Strange ending the universe, and he's stuck in his own little bubble that he created that
Yeah.
kind of keeps him safe from. Now he lives out the rest of eternity in this little bubble, which unless he just lets that go. But then again, he's the most powerful being that's got every freaking thing sucked into him. So I don't even know if he would be able to die even if he got rid of the bubble.
Who knows, right? Maybe
Right.
he's stuck there for eternity, forever. Stuck.
So wild to think about.
All
Whoa.
those demons in his head.
Oh my God, the demons in his head, and then
Literal.
having and literal demons, and then having the repeating thought of losing your love
And every
over and over and over.
And then he has the split personality where the other part of him is telling him you are dumb. I told you
yeah,
specifically
I told you
this would
so. I
happen.
told you so.
Oh, the other one is kicking back in his seat, going, "Yep,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, do it. Yeah,
Yep,
told
pretty
you.
sure I said something
Sure.
about this, but yep, you wanted to do it."
Here we are. Hey, could have avoided it, but But
Damn,
I
it
liked
really.
also the fights between the two strangers. Was really fun.
yeah, as I said, that was my favorite part. It's just fun to see all that different animation come to life and stuff you just can't really do on screen. I mean, I would love to see it on screen, but I just don't think you can have that level of power yet, without it looking cartoony anyways. So
Well,
I liked it.
what did, what did you guys think of when he jumps back and everything's kind of melting into some goo or whatever? It looked like goo to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, or oil, like a blackish goo. So was that the universe kind of falling apart? I was trying to figure out really what was the goo.
Yeah, I think it was just the magic, kind of seeing the magical ramifications of the universe kind of melting away, just dissolving into whatever black magic that he had harnessed, I guess, in his reality. So when he was trying to stop it, he was like, "Okay." I like how nonchalant and cool he was too. He's like, "This is happening, so let's go do it."
We've had worse.
even Wong was melting away in this black goo, and he's like,
"Yep,
you're gonna fix this, right?"
Yeah, right. Our only hope. We shall see. But it was cool to see the other Sorcerer Supreme. I forget Tilda Swinton's character.
Oh, Ancient One?
See, the Ancient One, sorry.
Yeah.
So when she split the timeline is like a good, it's almost like a precursor to Spider-Man for people that, hopefully aren't going to go into Spider-Man completely blind now. They're going to hopefully grasp the idea that what Doctor Strange is going to do to Peter is probably the same thing that she did to him. But I think his was unintentional, where hers was intentional. She wanted to make sure that there was a good version of him to fall back on to fight, and help out.
She literally created a what if inflection point to play out in real time.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. That was a boss move right there. It's a Hail Mary, but it worked. Well, no, it didn't work, did it?
It didn't work.
It kind of worked. But...
That's the best part of this episode is that the heroes always win and the villain didn't, or the villain was successful.
Right. Exactly.
God, I'm just reliving that fight scene in my head, and yeah, the fact that the good Doctor Strange had the spell that was on him, and then every time that he got hit, just little pieces of it kind of flared away. It was like, ooh. Yep. But the one thing I didn't care for was when the bad Doctor Strange swipes it like an iPhone off his forehead.
Oh yeah, he swiped right on him.
He just goes swipe. And it's done. I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, his head's not an iPhone. Don't swipe his head.
Did you feel bad when the cape died?
A little bit.
I felt bad. I always feel bad for it's like the carpet from Aladdin. It's like no.
That's exactly what it is.
The thing can't speak for itself either. Can't
he
plead
sacrificed himself and it didn't even help.
For nothing.
All because of the power of the cockroach cape.
Yeah.
Man. Could you imagine? Well, at least he's got the cockroach cape, so I guess he's not there alone in his little bubble for eternity.
Yeah. They could play patty cake or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Name it Wilson.
Yeah.
Well,
right around
it,
like the carpet.
So here's the thing that I'm thinking of now is the fact that he was able to destroy his own universe, but he has taken demons and all kinds of other powerful entities from other universes and galaxies or whatever. What if he's able to control his bubble enough to go find another universe?
My understanding is that that's it. I don't think he can. I don't think he has access to do that.
I mean, he could always, again, if they're setting up the heroes of the multiverse, they could always set up the villains of the multiverse.
Yeah, that too. Maybe somebody can break in there. I don't know.
Well, my thought is, I mean, when I think of universes, I just think of a bunch of bubbles with galaxies and all that stuff inside of it. I'm thinking massive, obviously. Universe level.
It's like Men in Black, right? The universe that's on the
inside the marble. Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's a
the
bunch of
aliens are
marbles all
playing.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what if he could find another? But how would he do that? I don't know, because all he's got is time stone. Do you just fast forward time until? I don't even know how you would do it, because if you don't have any other,
He'd have to figure out whatever the Hydra does to transport between.
that's true. Yeah.
He'd have to
Or
access that.
the thing is, it is, yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think how far-reaching is that tentacle beast. Like, is it just within his own universe? Like the multiverse within his own universe?
Oh, boy.
Or is it the multiverse of the multiverse? Because the one thing I was thinking of when I was watching this was the idea of the prism. So, in the beginning of each episode, you see the prism break, because he talks about reality as a prism. Whereas if you watch the TVA, the timeline is a straight line that forks off, so it's a different analogy altogether. So I think that this might be a different concept than what is happening in the main MCU stuff. But it might not be. I don't know. I just think it's strange that they do mention it in a different way. They call it a prism versus the sacred timeline forking off into a multiverse, because they don't mention that word that I can recall.
Well, I mean, just Kang is gonna have a different idea than the Watcher.
That's true, sure. But I'm just wondering if the what ifs are almost like not even part of that idea of the multiverse. Like it's almost outside of that altogether. Like you can't access it. Like there is no way to get to there from where we are. But in the multiverse, you can go between those different multiverses, if that makes sense.
I kind of see what you're saying.
I think it depends how successful What If is.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that Marvel needs to kind of, I think, hone in for people, because I feel like there's a lot of confusion out there. Like I've seen other people like go, I don't know what the heck's going on. This doesn't make any sense. And like I know enough because I've read enough of the comics, and even I have a confusion of what they're trying to is saying what is the multiverse and what isn't, and what
they're
are
doing
the rules.
some high level sciencey stuff for sure.
They really are. They need to tell us what is what.
You have to have one clear voice for that. You can
Yes.
have different voices when it comes to events happening in one timeline, but once you start talking about all kinds of, you need one big voice for what is the scope of what's going on.
Yeah, is it a timeline or is it a prism?
Yeah.
Well, we need to know. So that's my main gripe so far.
Do you guys feel like Loki kind of explained that to an extent?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Loki explained one, but the Watcher is explaining a different thing. That's what Prog's saying.
Yeah. So, do you watch the intros to the episodes, Alex, or do you do the skip intro button?
Oh, I skip intro.
Okay, so
I'm not watching that Marvel BS come towards.
It's actually extremely important because he explains what is happening in What If is that they're like prism dimensions versus different timelines and stuff. Because like there's a timeline within this universe, so it's almost like that's the multiverse within its own universe.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I know it's heady stuff, but they're not telling us specifics.
Yeah.
That's why I want to know. So I understand the whole timeline thing. I understand the prism thing, but I don't know if they're going to be connected, if the cartoons versus the real life shows are going to be connected. They may exist in two separate bubbles, but are they in the same,
Man, this is so tough.
Yeah.
We'll see when What If ends.
Different level.
Yeah, I know. That's true. We'll see what happens when What If ends, if they explain at the end of it and tie it all together somehow.
Well, no, they're probably just going to have the Watcher go, and that's your What If for this time. Oh,
they
keep
could.
in touch.
So in the comic books, the What Ifs are not like a multiverse at all. Like that's not what they're for. They're meant to be just like a silly, fun What If as part of maybe the universe, but they're not going to have an interaction with anything, But like Deadpool kills and stuff like that's not technically part of the multiverse. It's literally just a What If. Like, hey, let's have fun and let's pretend kind of stuff. Whereas this is feeling like maybe it could be part of the actual MCU.
Well, it seems like they're trying to make this full-on canon to where we watch this and we go, okay, I can take a little piece from this episode, little piece from this episode, and now that's going to be in Doctor Strange or maybe even a little bit into Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's coming up and that's going to be right after What If is is it? Yeah, What If will be done by the time Spider-Man comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be something big in one of these what ifs where everything comes together, and then it's like, ooh, that could pop up in Spider-Man.
Well, just remember, don't listen to anything Kevin Feige says. So when he says that you won't need to watch the Disney Plus shows to understand the movies, that means the exact opposite.
Like, I don't know why he said that. It's like,
Don't worry,
obviously.
I don't listen to that guy anyway, so there we go.
It works out for you. All right. Any other thoughts on the episode itself?
Yeah. Or do you want to move on?
Dude, that fight scene, I just keep going back to it. It really was good. So I would almost rewatch it just for the fight scene. So
yeah, it was
Yeah,
just well done. 'Cause he actually used all the different beasts in different ways too. It wasn't like just fist punching the whole time. He was like, here, let me use this power and whatever the nightmare power was, and then all this other different cool stuff. For
And
effect.
and did you guys notice these just the small subtle every time that he sucked in an entity, his face kind of morphed into the entity for like a split second.
Second. Oh yeah.
Ooh, I was like, ooh, that looks rad.
Yeah, I like when the tentacle goes into his neck.
Oh yeah.
But the best part is when he sucked himself in. He just went and took himself in. That was great.
Hug.
Hug.
Cool. Yeah, I think
That
we're good on this
nightmare analogy you just said, though. I mean, I didn't think about that at all, but he actually did it himself.
Yeah, it was like a cartoon. Well, obviously it's a cartoon, but it was like really funny how like he grabbed him, like pulled him into this nightmare dimension. It was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
rad. So cool.
Because that was a
I
really
bet-
quick, like, tentacle grab.
Yeah. I wonder if that kind of aspect's going to be in the new Doctor Strange movie, and I think it might.
Yeah.
Like that might be that horror aspect they were hinting at. I think they're going to mess with people's minds, man.
Good.
You don't know what reality you're actually in.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, we shall see.
Cool. So that's episode 4, and I'm excited for what's coming. What if next? But now, for what if we extend this dark timeline of Doctor Strange and applied it to other aspects? Because there's the idea of what if all heroes turn the villain, or what if your favorite show actually ended up not having a good ending? So,
Right.
do you guys have any particular dark ideas?
If your favorite show did not have a good ending, that happened to me.
No,
Game of
not
Thrones.
good as in like you didn't like
Oh.
it, but good as in
Oh.
like a happy ending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not talking Game of Thrones here. Sorry. I mean, you can if you want, but that's not.
What
I
if
mean.
Game of Thrones ended with a better ending?
Yeah, not that.
What
Like,
if
for example-
Dexter ended with a better ending?
Well, their case coming back, so it might.
I
We'll
know.
see.
They're gonna decanon everything from 5 to 8 or whatever.
That's.
Fingers crossed.
But I did have one since we already did. I can't stop thinking about Star Wars. I'm sorry. That's just where my brain goes. And we had talked a lot about like what happens if Luke goes dark. But I had a good one for Leia, in that what if she saw that Luke, she went with Luke and trained with Yoda, and Yoda discovered, oh, you're related. Let's train you too. So they both train, and Luke can't kill her father, but she's angry for Vader blowing up her planet. Like, that was my adopted family. You abandoned me. It's like, this is where I grew up, and you took it away from me, and now I'm going to strike you down. And maybe she becomes evil and strikes him down, and the Emperor wins and said, yes, you can rule alongside me. And maybe she wants to rule with her brother. What would happen to the Resistance? Would she go back to them? She just pretty much abandons them at that point. Are they doomed then? Because they're not going to want to follow her.
Wow, that's a fun one. I think I like the whole role reversal as well, like throwing Leia in there instead of like Luke turning bad or anything like that.
I thought that too, because I'm like, she was kind of underused. It was almost like Lucas had this idea at the very end of it all. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they were brother and sister?
Right. Yeah. And that's perfect way of putting it. She really was underused. If you think about each movie, I mean, yeah, she does a lot of really badass things, but for the most part, like, she's not using the Force. She's not using lightsabers. She's not fighting Darth Vader or the Emperor.
Yeah, so it'd been kind of cool to see that.
It really would have.
So that was one of my dark takes I had. Another one I have I'm gonna save for a later time because we're gonna be talking about a different fandom later, so I'll hold on to that card for a later
Okay.
episode.
So this goes on to the idea. Alex brought this up on an episode a long time ago, but so Rick and Morty has experimented with dark, and they do all kinds of timeline variations and dimensions and all that kind of good stuff. But there's that Adult Swim, animated version called Bushland Adventures, where it's the whole Australian version. If you guys haven't seen it, it's absolutely crazy. You can just look up Bushland Adventures.
All right.
And the idea is, so Rick shows up and he's like, get in the car, instead of getting in his ship. So I'm going to beep this out, but get in the fucking car, Morty. He says that over and over again. And Morty's like, oh no, geez, Rick, I can't get in the car. We can't. He's like, we have to go over to a different part of Australia, pick something up. And then Beth and Summer come out and they're like, you're not taking him again this time. So what if there's a version of Rick and Morty where he's not a mad scientist, he's not brilliant, he doesn't go to different dimensions, and he's just a creepy old crazy grandpa, and they just go do things, and they're none of it. It's like he's like, oh, we're gonna go over to the bush dimension, because Morty's like, oh, I really gotta pee. Oh, we're gonna go over to the bush dimension so you can go pee. And what if he just makes up all the dimensions and he makes up everything, and it's all just Rick is just a crazy old guy. He's doing like creepy pedophile stuff with Morty, and it's super dark. Like they need an episode of Rick and Morty.
This is the original Rick and Morty before Rick and Morty was picked up.
The Bushland Adventures?
It sounds like it.
That really crazy one.
We might have to cut this out, but where he goes, yeah, Morty, you gotta lick my balls. You gotta lick my balls. That's the only way we're getting out of this dimension. You gotta lick my balls. He goes, Rick, I'm not licking your balls. Okay, we can cut that. Okay, because if you look up the original Rick and Morty on YouTube, that's what's happening.
No, it's like a fan-made Australian version.
Okay, it's a fan-made. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like a spoof off of season 1, and just that whole idea that Rick is making this all up. And that's like Beth and Summer have tried to get a restraining order on Rick so he has to stop coming around Morty. And these adventures that they're going on are just some creepy things.
That's always been my theory since season 1, was that this is all in his head and he's just taking so much drugs and drinking so much that he's just making this all up, and like they're like just allowing him to take care of their kid.
Which kind of makes sense if they have like a last season and they do kind of just say that it was a drunken stupor where all of this all happened. Because I mean, if you watch some of these episodes, there is some really bizarre stuff that happens.
I mean, he's telling this little kid to shove stuff up his butt. It's like, it's already dark.
We gotta get back.
I mean, I just think like, I don't know if they would land it, but that's something that would be the darkest version of Rick and Morty, that it's all just based in reality, and it's none of this crazy sciencey weird wacky stuff actually happens, and it's just everyday stuff, and Rick is just a creepy old guy.
Yeah, there you go.
The show, it's already kind of like that. He is a creepy old guy. He's a creepy old grandpa.
This way, it seems like there's no purpose to it. He's just crazy instead of wanting to actually go to different dimensions and do things. I don't know. I like this. All right. I was trying to avoid time travel stuff. I was like, time travel seems like it'd be too easy of a what if.
You don't want to keep going back to the future and stuff like that,
I really liked the idea though of the whole what if you could save somebody that you love that died or something, and like would that take you off the path of good? If you're consumed by this idea that in your head is like the right thing to do, like for Doctor Strange, it's like, oh, it's the right thing I should save someone's life, right? Like that's the person I love. That's a good thing. But it really, I mean, you're destroying everything else around you. You're not on the path to really help others or anything else or society.
Well, with the Doctor Strange, he had someone tell him, dude, stop what you're doing. This is an event that happens no matter what.
That's my point. That was my point I forgot to make during the episode. So when the Ancient One split reality, that technically tells us that it really wasn't Doctor Strange's decision. he never made the decision one way or the other. She did for him, right? If she split those realities and he didn't, he wasn't the one to make the decision to put down the time stone and go get T. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That means it's not free will. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I forgot to during the episode. But a lot of these what ifs are those kind of scenarios of like, what if I decided not to go become the good guy because I have this other motive now to do this other thing that's really not going to take me down a path to become a hero. It's, something that's going to lead me towards destruction in some way. So thinking about what those could be, I just think that most of them are going to be to like save somebody that you love in some way, like Uncle Ben or, Bruce's parents or whatever.
Well, and that's where I was going to go is Batman. Like, what if, I mean, there's so many different what ifs with Batman. Yeah. I mean, what if Batman's parents didn't die? I mean, and actually I believe there is a cartoon out. It's either a cartoon or a comic where Bruce Wayne's parents don't die, but Bruce Wayne's parents become Batman, or God, I can't remember what it was. Man, that was like right on the tip of my tongue too.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the title of it either.
Right, but I mean, it's kind of funny now if you look back that there are like other what ifs out there in different like DC, in all this other stuff. And if you even like the Star Wars books, I mean, there's a lot of books out there that aren't canon, but they've been published, and that's pretty much a what if scenario right there.
Right.
There's but so much content.
Didn't you have a Batman take about Batman not really wanting to chase bad guys or something?
Yeah, if he just decided to be just a billionaire, and he's like, and he doesn't become Batman, he just some rich dude now. Like, he would be Bezos. If Bezos wanted to be Batman, he's got the money and power behind him that he could do it. Not now. I mean, he doesn't have time on his side right now, but dude's going to space. He doesn't care. But we also don't have a serial killing clown running around killing hundreds of people.
That too. But I'm also wondering if, like, how would he come to that decision? Would his parents then not be murdered in the alley? Where they just handed him the money and he is just like this rich kid that grew up to become the billionaire. And
well, yeah, at that point, that'd just be any rich kid right now where the parents just leave them all the money and they're just like, okay, well,
what if he was the rich kid? They had no other kids, just like in the book. So he's a single, kid. They ignore him his whole life because they're busy off being billionaires and running the business. So he gets bored. He grows up, has all his money, but doesn't really have anybody to pay attention to him. So he allows the bad guys to get away with their crimes so he can catch them with all of his gadgets and gizmos, but allows them to just wreak havoc on the city and kill people and wait until they are done killing people, then get them.
Or let's jump back. What you were saying about his parents ignoring him. Let's say his parents were ignoring him because, they were taking care of a company, becoming billionaires, whatever. And he feels so alone that he ends up being a bad guy. He still turns into Batman, but Batman is now a bad guy rather than a good guy.
And stuff.
Yeah, committing crimes rather than being a vigilante.
Look at me.
Yeah, give me attention. I want the attention. Why am I not getting it? And then he now gets the attention. Batman strikes again. Where is he? Who is he? You know what I mean? Now he's getting that attention that he's been craving from his parents, but now he gets it from the media.
Nice. All right.
Ooh, that's a really fun one right there. And then who knows? Maybe the Joker is the good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, or they team up, or Robin is the guy who needs to bring down Batman. Who knows?
Sure.
But man, that's a fun one right there. Yeah.
Oh. Are there any universes that you guys can think of that are typically bright? Because I mean, like Batman is kind of dark. Okay. I was not. Okay, I mean, if you want to, sure, let's go. But you know what I mean? Like, not ones that are necessarily already kind of dark, but like ones that aren't dark that could become dark because of the hero succumbing to the dark side. So I feel like a lot of stuff I'm thinking of are already kind of dark in and of themselves, like Harry Potter, Star Wars, Batman, obviously. Like, they're already kind of dark. Man, so like, what would really change the dynamic of a universe that's fairly light. Like maybe the bad guys aren't necessarily pure evil. Because that would be fun, I would think.
Yeah.
To destroy that civilization. Care Bears could be an idea, sure.
Well, no, I was just goofing off when you said, "Oh, a light and bright place."
I know, yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating.
But I don't.
Well, let's you guys know Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's turn Five Nights at Freddy's to Trevor here is wearing Mickey Mouse ears.
Okay.
Let's say Disney World at night becomes Five Nights at Freddy's. And kids sneak in, and Mickey Mouse is now murdering people who trespass onto Disney World. There's your what if dark scenario.
Okay. I was gonna go more with Sorcerer Mickey. What if Sorcerer Mickey went out of control and didn't stop? And was liking it so much he ended up flooding the whole world and killing everybody. You know?
Oh.
What if the sorcerer never came back in for his hat and stopped him?
What if Sorcerer Mickey actually created the 40 days of floods that Noah built his ark with?
Maybe.
Oh my god.
What about you, Trevor? Anything else? Any other kind of what ifs from Disney, maybe?
So I guess with Disney, you have the idea of Onward, because they brought the dad back and they only bring half back. But a lot of things where they bring back things from the dead, it's like a whole necromancy thing. It's not what you intended to bring back. So you could have that whole movie, but it's not like an uplifting kind of brother finding love. It's about, we just brought this creepy thing back and we don't know what magic is at all. And it does bring magic back to the world, but it's all just dark magic.
Yeah. What if they're told that they can bring their dead back with it, but like they keep trying and they keep messing up and bringing back like creepy people from the past and evil dictators and stuff? Oh yeah.
Well, at that point, now you're just looking at like a Walking Dead, because they'd all be zombies at that point.
Some like half zombies and just the feet walking.
And they're standing at big dictators. They've got their podium in front of them, and
they're just stomping their feet, and they can't hear what you're saying. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
Ah! Oh my god, I can follow that.
Right?
Another one. What if you crossed over Monsters Inc. with Assassin's Creed, where they don't use the doors to scare kids, they go and kill people? Because they have these doors that go to everybody on Earth, and they just kill people.
Well, hold on.
Instead
of Monsters Inc., what if, dude, you just opened up a whole window into my brain. What if the Assassin's Creed actually were sorcerers like Doctor Strange, and that's how they go in and out of certain areas? Yeah, and maybe their powers are only powerful for enough because you can only make like one portal, and then you've got to escape like an assassin does.
What are you doing? I'm an assassin. Shut up.
Dude, that's really cool. That's a great idea. I love that. Because essentially the doors are the same thing as the
portals. Yeah.
Portals.
Yeah, the portals.
That's what they are.
Well, I was gonna say the doors are kind of like I was gonna say the Beatles, but they're not like the Beatles at all. I was trying to make a dumb music joke and it didn't come out very well. Sorry, guys. I am sorry for my awful
you're trying
jokes.
To compare the Doors to the Beatles that we were trying to.
No.
Okay.
It was just a music joke.
I was trying to be funny and it fell flat really hard.
A B flat, maybe.
B flat. There you go. See, now you're a thinker. I like that.
I think Trevor's looking at around his room for inspiration at the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking of bright, positive things that you could turn
I know it's
dark.
hard, right?
It's fun turning things dark.
Well, but that's the funny thing is you brought up Disney. If you could take almost any Disney property, let's say Lion King, let's say Scar actually does succeed in taking over Pride Land, and he really does make it just terrible, and it stays that way. I mean, you could then jump over to any other. Give me another one.
Aladdin.
Give me another.
Jafar doesn't get defeated. Yeah.
Doesn't get defeated. He actually does turn into the ultimate powerful genie.
He's the Sorcerer Supreme.
He turns into Sorcerer Supreme.
That's that's the end. The fun part is finding out what the hero's
The
failure
inflection
is to
point.
get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more fun than of course that's what we're talking about is the
Well,
bad guy.
Abu doesn't take the lamp
what?
out of Jafar's waistcoat, and so
go.
he gets trapped in the cave, and there's no Jafar
He's
just
done.
goes unhealed. Yeah.
Yeah, see, you could take any property.
Yeah, Nala doesn't come and snap some sense into Simba, so he
Simba.
just stays with
So
Timon and Pumbaa his whole
Yeah.
life.
yeah, in a paradise, in a freaking paradise.
Right.
Why did Simba? Well, I know why Simba left, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you're leaving this awesome oasis to go to Pride Rock.
It's like Beauty and the Beast. What if what if she doesn't fall for the Beast in time and he stays the Beast? The final rose falls down.
What
Yeah,
if the
does she
beast
want
just
that?
stays a prick the entire time
That too.
Yeah.
and doesn't
Jeez.
have a heart?
Or he just eats her and just
Yeah.
that's a really
Hungry.
quick movie.
Be
I haven't eaten it.
dinner, be your dinner. Put up.
I like that.
We're not gonna get wait. We don't get monetized, so we're not
You're
gonna
so
get demonetized.
Can't be demonetized if you weren't monetized in the first place. So don't worry, you're fine.
Well, so I know we talk about Wizard of Oz a lot, and I would say probably it was a really fun, and I would say it was a what if. This is a what if series, but it was the what if. I think I want to say it's called Tin Man, where oh god, no, Zooey Deschanel was in it, but Tin Man was actually like a cop or something like that, and it's actually really fascinating. You know what? Here, you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna look up what it's called.
It's called Tin Man. It was on Sci-Fi like 10 or 15 years ago.
I actually had a blast watching that, and that was a what if right there. Like, what if, they weren't like an actual Tin Man? What if it wasn't an actual cowardly lion or a scarecrow? Like, if they were real people that actually needed, like, the Tin Man needs a heart, but he's a cop, but he doesn't. But I'm a rough, gruff cop, but I need a heart.
Right.
That's the fun what if. What if all the things that are fantastical are actually based in reality?
Based in reality. Yeah.
Well,
Like,
that was
what if
one-
Harry
that was the
Potter,
show once.
he's just in the cupboard the whole time?
Don't get into Harry Potter stuff.
No, you can't get into Harry Potter. Because this is a dark version of it.
Yeah, there you go.
We're going to focus on the actual timeline of Harry Potter later, but again, imagine if he is in the cupboard and he just creates this whole world. Essentially, the Dursleys just send him to an insane asylum at some point, and they
all
admit him
shit the whole
he
time.
can't get out until 18. And so he goes to Hogwarts from 11 to 18, but it's actually just an insane asylum. It's his coping mechanism.
He thinks it's a school. He's like, hello, fellow classmates. There's another inmate drooling for themselves.
Some redhead
that's Mr.
inmate.
Droolsley over there. He's the potions master.
Yeah, you can get dark really quick by just making fantasy real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is just turning it all into realistic. Yeah, because our reality is pretty dark on its own.
Yeah.
Like, no, the house didn't fall on that woman's head. You bashed her brains in. That's what you did, Dorothy.
Oh,
That's why your shoes
rock.
were red.
Right?
It was
There
the
you
blood
go.
that soaked into the shoes.
Yes.
good Lord.
Yeah.
You guys are dark, man.
Oh man, we should end it there. That was fantastic.
Yeah, probably, because I'm not going to be able to think of anything darker than what's going on rattling around in y'all's brains.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun though.
Really?
Everything's so positive and uplifting. It's like a transport away from reality. But reality, it can come seeping back in at any moment.
Very true.
Yeah, I dig that. Cool. All right. I think
So,
we can
everyone, stay tuned for What If Episode 5 discussion next week. And who knows, we might extend that Batman DC connection, I think. Maybe. What if? I don't know. Until then, we hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time.
Prog out.
Adios, y'all.